Good morning, young man. Why do you look so confused?
I can't figure this ALPA thing out.
Go on.
Well, most of my peers are very smart and extremely hard workers. You see, everyone I talk to is fed up with ALPA. We all bitch and moan, and yet every month they take a huge percentage of our shitty paychecks, and the pilot group just accepts it. All the while ALPA gives us bullshit stories about how they are doing their best, and yet nothing is being done. We are operating on a contract that was supposed to be renegotiated years ago.
My goodness. Well then, what are they doing with all of this money they are collecting?
ALPA's senior leadership makes over $400,000 a year. They take lavish, all-expense-paid vacations and call them conferences. There is a huge list of employees making over $100,000 a year. Some of the ALPA secretaries make over $100,000 a year, far more than our pilots with less than 5 years at a major and definitely more than the regional pilots. The list goes on. We are paying for all of this and yet, we still do not have a new contract.
Well, you don't have to be Einstein to figure this one out. It sounds as though ALPA is only working as hard as they need to. It is a common human characteristic to work just hard enough as to not get fired. So you simply need to motivate them to work harder.
That sounds impossible. Maybe I should just stick to bitching non-stop in the cockpit and doing nothing about it. Except affirm that I will not sign a shitty contract, but then roll over and sign it anyway.
But I have a better idea. Did you know that you can legally donate all of your union dues to a charity?
Huh?
Yes, you can donate all of your ALPA dues to a charity. All you need to do is get the form from ALPA. Title 7 of the Civil Rights Act allows persons who object to how their dues are being spent, usually on religious grounds, to give that same money to a charitable organization instead of their union. The key word being instead. The provision is not restricted to employees who are bona fide members of organized religious groups, but includes those with sincerely held religious beliefs. As a non-union bargaining unit member, you are not subject to union discipline or fines. You can limit your financial obligation to the union, and you are legally entitled to the same representation services as union members. This is a loose interpretation. The verbiage is religious because that is how the case was filed. However, objection just means that you object to ALPA using your dues for a political agenda. The test case proved that you do not have to be a member of an organized religious group. So there is multiple grounds to redirect funds, and redirecting funds does not disqualify you from the benefits. I bet if all of the pilots do this until a contract is signed, it will motivate these fat cats to get their asses into work on the bright and get you a contract. Then you send a message with no uncertainty that if the first proposal isn't what the pilot group is looking for, ALPA is getting voted off of the property. This should help stop the showing up late and leaving early bullshit that is going on in Virginia, as well as the lavish vacations for these guys paid for by your dues. You need to remember, unions were designed for blue-collar workers such as plumbers and bricklayers. What do you think would have happened to a union rep if he accepted a promotion with management, right after he sold the workers out for a shitty contract, if the group he was representing was a group of New York bricklayers?
I can only imagine. It's terrifying to think about what they would have done.
Exactly. Unfortunately, pilots have become blue-collar workers who have been allowed to keep their white shirts and fooled into believing they are still white-collar. And this is why the union is able to bitch-slap you guys every time, and why a huge, self-serving union like ALPA cannot benefit you. I will research the exact details on how to donate your dues to charity. We have a team working on it right now. In fact, we called ALPA today and surprisingly no one was available to answer any of my questions. A paid outside answering service took our call.
You have got to be shitting me. But isn't today a normal work day?
Yes, it is. And precisely part of the problem. Look for part 3 of this series for exact details on how we can band together and all donate our dues to charity until a contract is signed. In the meantime, circulate what you have learned here so you can stop this now. The merger and contract are way too important for people to be working half days right now, taking advantage of you and making fun of you on their way to the bank.
But how can they be taking advantage of us like this? We are pilots. They made movies about guys like us. Remember Top Gun?
I do remember Top Gun. I also remember Revenge of the Nerds. A movie about a group of guys consistently being taken advantage of. People pretending to be their friends only to exploit them. Time after time, they get fooled, embarrassed and abused.
I see. I had the wrong movie this whole time.
Indeed. So what you need to do is stop listening to the bullies pretending to be your friends and unify within the pilot group and stop getting kicked around and use your brains to fight back. After Ogar, in this case ALPA, sees the errors in their ways, perhaps they can be your friend.
So while I have been picturing myself as Iceman all of this time, I'm actually Booger?
More like Gilbert.
And my captain, Maverick.
Wormser.